I have always been the kind of person who writes things down. Not just work notes or grocery lists, but thoughts, feelings, dreams I would never say out loud. While everyone else in the office typed everything into laptops and phones, I carried around an actual paper notebook. My friends from college thought it was quirky. My coworkers thought it was old-fashioned. I just liked the feeling of pen on paper, the way my hand moved when I was thinking, the privacy of something that wasn't connected to the cloud or a server somewhere. I never thought that notebook would ruin my life. Or maybe save it. I am still not entirely sure which. It started 6 months ago when I joined Miller & Associates as a junior marketing analyst. Fresh out of college, terrified, wearing a blazer I bought specifically because it looked like something a professional person would wear. My first day, I sat in the conference room for new hire orientation, clutching my notebook like a security blanket, and that is when I saw her. Sophia Chen, senior project manager, 29 years old, which I found out later from her LinkedIn profile that I definitely did not obsessively review multiple times. She was the person leading the orientation session, walking us through company culture and department structures, and I could not stop staring. She had this way of talking that made even the boring HR policies sound interesting. She made jokes that actually landed. When one of the other new hires asked a nervous question, she smiled and said there are no stupid questions here, and I believed her. I had dated guys in college, 3 boyfriends, all perfectly nice, all perfectly boring. I never understood what people meant when they said they had chemistry with someone until the moment Sophia Chen looked directly at me during that orientation and asked if I had any questions. My brain went completely blank. I managed to shake my head no, and she smiled at me, and something in my chest did a thing I had never felt before. That was the moment I realized I might not be as straight as I thought I was. Over the next few months, I saw Sophia constantly. We were in the same department, which meant weekly team meetings, project updates, occasional collaboration on client campaigns. She was always professional, always kind, always somehow knowing exactly what to say. When I completely botched a presentation in my second week, she caught me afterward in the hallway and told me that everyone messes up their first few presentations, and that I would be great once I got more comfortable. When I stayed late trying to figure out the analytics software, she stopped by my desk on her way out and walked me through the parts I was stuck on, patient and clear and never making me feel stupid for not knowing. I developed a crush so intense it actually hurt. The kind of crush where you find excuses to walk past someone's desk, where you memorize their schedule so you know when they will be in the break room, where you practice conversations in your head that you will never actually have. I knew it was hopeless. She was senior, I was junior. She was 29, I was 24. She was openly queer, confident, completely put together. I was a baby analyst who still got nervous talking in meetings. And I had never been with a woman. I had no idea what I was doing. I did not even know if what I was feeling was real attraction or just admiration for someone I wanted to be like. So I did what I always did with feelings I could not process. I wrote about them. In my notebook, during meetings when my brain wandered. In the margins next to actual work notes. Little thoughts, little confessions I would never say out loud. Her name sometimes in different handwriting styles. Stupid stuff, harmless stuff, private stuff, until it was not private anymore. It happened during our weekly team meeting on a Thursday morning in October. There were 8 of us sitting around the conference table. Sophia was presenting the Q4 projections, walking through slides about client retention and revenue targets. I was half listening, my pen moving across the page in my notebook, doodling in the margins the way I always did when I needed to focus. Little swirls, little shapes, little patterns. I did not realize what I had written until it was too late. Sophia clicked to the next slide, something about customer feedback metrics, and then she turned to me. Emma, you met with the Peterson account last week, right? Can you share your notes on their feedback about the rebrand? I nodded, still half distracted, and pushed my notebook across the table toward her. She had asked for notes. I had notes. It made sense. Sophia picked up the notebook and looked down at the page. I watched her eyes scan the lines. I watched her expression stay perfectly neutral and professional. And then I watched her stop. Completely. Her eyes fixed on something in the bottom corner of the page, and the color drained from her face. That was when I remembered. That was when my stomach dropped through the floor. That was when I looked at the notebook in her hands and saw, in my own handwriting, in careful looping script surrounded by tiny hearts, the words Mrs. Sophia Chen. I had written it without thinking. During the part of her presentation where she was talking about quarterly goals, my brain had wandered and my hand had just moved, the way it always did when I was daydreaming. I had doodled her name. Our name. The name I would have if we got married, which was insane, which was never going to happen, which was the most embarrassing thing I could possibly have written in a work notebook that I just handed to her in front of 7 other colleagues. The silence in the room stretched out. Someone coughed. Sophia was still staring at the notebook, and I could see her hand trembling slightly. She closed the notebook carefully, like it might explode, and handed it back to me across the table. Her voice, when she spoke, was professional but strained. "Emma, maybe you can just verbally share your notes." I tried to speak. I opened my mouth, and nothing came out. My face was on fire. My hands were shaking. Every single person in that meeting was looking at me, and I knew they knew something weird had just happened, even if they did not know what. I managed to choke out something about the Peterson account being happy with the rebrand direction and wanting to expand into digital ads. I have no idea if it made sense. I could not hear my own voice over the sound of blood rushing in my ears. Sophia continued the meeting like nothing had happened. She went through the rest of the slides, assigned action items, wrapped everything up with her usual efficiency. But I saw her hands. I saw the way she did not look at me for the rest of the meeting. I saw the way she left the conference room the second it was over, faster than usual, without her normal small talk. I sat there after everyone else had filed out, staring at my notebook, wanting to die. I had just shown my coworker, my senior coworker, my unbelievably out-of-my-league coworker, a page where I had written Mrs. Sophia Chen surrounded by hearts like I was a 12-year-old with a crush on a pop star. There was no coming back from this. There was no way to explain it. There was no universe in which this was not the most humiliating moment of my entire life. I spent the rest of that day hiding. I ate lunch at my desk. I avoided the break room. I left at exactly 5 o'clock and did not make eye contact with anyone on my way out. When I got home, I lay on my couch and stared at the ceiling and wondered if it was possible to die of embarrassment. My phone buzzed. A text from my best friend from college. "How's work?" I typed out the whole story, sent it, waited. Her response came fast. "Oh my God. Emma. Oh my God." "I know," I typed back. "What are you going to do?" "I am going to avoid her for the rest of my life and eventually quit and move to another city and change my name." She sent back a laughing emoji, then a heart. "It will be okay." Maybe she thought it was sweet. She did not think it was sweet, I wrote. She looked horrified. That night, I could not sleep. I kept replaying the moment over and over, the way Sophia's face had changed when she saw what I wrote, the way her hands shook, the way she could not look at me. By Friday, I had a plan. Avoid Sophia completely. If I saw her in the hallway, I would turn around. If she was in the break room, I would wait. If she emailed me, I would respond as briefly and professionally as possible. Eventually, she would forget. Eventually, this would blow over. Eventually, I would stop feeling like I wanted to crawl out of my own skin every time I thought about it. The plan worked for exactly 2 weeks. I became an expert at avoiding someone I worked with every day. I learned Sophia's schedule. I knew when she took lunch, when she had meetings, when she usually arrived and left. I timed everything around not running into her. When we had to be in the same meeting, I sat as far away as possible and did not make eye contact. When she sent me work emails, I responded in short, professional sentences with no personality. It was exhausting. It was also necessary. Because every time I saw her, even from a distance, my brain replayed the notebook incident, and I wanted to sink into the floor. I thought I could keep it up indefinitely. I thought eventually she would just forget about it, write me off as the weird junior analyst with the embarrassing crush, and we would both move on. I was wrong. It was a Friday night, 2 weeks after the incident. I had stayed late to finish a report that was due Monday, and by the time I packed up my desk, the office was empty. I was relieved. No chance of running into anyone, no awkward small talk. Just me, my bag, and the weekend ahead where I could pretend none of this existed. I walked out to the parking garage, my footsteps echoing in the concrete space. My car was on the 3rd level, and I was halfway there when I saw her. Sophia. leaning against my car, waiting. My first instinct was to turn around and leave. My second instinct was to pretend I did not see her and walk to a different car. My third instinct was to actually die on the spot. But she had already seen me, and she was looking right at me, and there was no escape. I walked toward her slowly, my heart pounding. She did not move. She just watched me approach, her expression unreadable. When I got close enough, she spoke. "We need to talk about the notebook. I wanted to die. I actually physically wanted to disappear." "Can we not?" I said, my voice barely steady. "Can we just pretend I'm a professional person who doesn't write embarrassing crushes in work notebooks?" Sophia did not smile. She just looked at me, and there was something in her expression I could not read. "Emma, I spent 2 weeks trying to decide if I should say something. And I decided I need to because I cannot keep doing this." "Doing what?" I asked. Pretending I did not see it. Pretending it does not matter. She took a breath, and I saw her hands clench at her sides. "Because it does matter. And I need to know if it was real." I stared at her. "What?" "The notebook," she said. "What you wrote. Was it real? Or was it just a joke? Or a daydream? Or something you did not mean?" My face was burning. I could not look at her. "It was real," I said quietly. "It was stupid and embarrassing and completely inappropriate. But it was real." Sophia was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I wrote your name too." I looked up, shocked. "What?" "Not in a notebook," she said. "On my phone. I started typing out texts to you and then deleted them. Over and over. I have drafts saved that I will never send. I have your contact open on my phone right now because I have been staring at it for 2 weeks trying to figure out what to say. I could not breathe." "You what?" She looked frustrated. Frustrated with herself, maybe? "You are 24 years old, Emma. I am 29. You are a junior analyst. I am a senior project manager. This is all wrong on paper. But I have not been able to stop thinking about you since I saw that notebook. Not because it was funny or cute, because someone felt something real enough to write it down. And I need to know if you still feel it." I did not know what to say. My brain could not process what was happening. Sophia Chen, the woman I had been avoiding for 2 weeks, the woman I thought was horrified by my crush, was standing in a parking garage telling me she had written my name on her phone. "I still feel it," I said finally. "I feel it every single day. That is why I have been avoiding you. Because I did not think you could ever feel the same way, and it hurt too much to be around you." Sophia stepped closer. "I feel the same way. I have felt it since the day you started. But I did not let myself do anything about it because of the age gap, because of the work dynamic, because I did not want you to think I was taking advantage. And then I saw that notebook, and I realized you felt it too, and I did not know what to do." "So what do we do now?" I asked. She looked at me for a long moment. "We talk about it. Honestly, we figure out if this is something we both actually want, or if it is just a workplace crush that will fade. And if it is real, we figure out how to do it without making things complicated at work." I nodded slowly. "Okay, let's talk." We ended up at a coffee shop 20 minutes away from the office. Somewhere neutral, somewhere no one from work would see us. We sat across from each other at a small table in the corner, both of us holding cups we were not drinking. It was awkward at first. I was hyper-aware of every word I said, and Sophia seemed to be overcompensating by being extremely professional, like we were in a work meeting instead of a maybe date. Finally, I could not take it anymore. "Okay," I said, interrupting her mid-sentence about workplace boundaries. "Let's just be honest." "Yes," I wrote Mrs. Chen in my notebook. "Yes, I have a giant, embarrassing crush on you. Yes, I know you are older and more senior and probably think I am just a kid with an office crush. But I am not. I genuinely like you. The way you present in meetings, the way you always know what to say, the way you are kind to the interns even when you are stressed, the way you smiled at me on my first day and made me feel like maybe I could actually do this job." I stopped, feeling vulnerable and exposed. I know it is a weird workplace crush, but are my feelings really irrelevant just because you are senior? Sophia was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Your feelings are not irrelevant. I was just afraid you would think I was taking advantage. You are new to this job. You are new to this." She gestured vaguely between us. I did not want to be the older coworker who pursued someone younger and less experienced. "Then let me decide that," I said. "Do not protect me from myself. I am an adult. I know what I want." "And what do you want?" Sophia asked. I took a breath. "I want to see if this is real. I want to try." Even with all the complications, Sophia smiled for the first time since the parking garage. A real smile, not her professional one. "Okay, then let's try." With all the complications, we started seeing each other outside of work. Carefully, quietly, coffee dates that turned into dinner dates, walks in parks where no coworkers would see us, long conversations about everything except work. I learned that Sophia loved terrible reality TV and fancy tea and hiking trails she never had time to actually hike. She learned that I was a romantic who wrote poetry I never showed anyone, and that I stress-baked, and that I had only recently figured out I was bi. She was patient with me. I had no idea what I was doing in a relationship with a woman, and she never made me feel stupid for it. When I got nervous before our first kiss, she told me we could wait as long as I needed. When I finally kissed her, in her apartment after our 5th date, it felt like everything I had been missing in every relationship before. At work, we were completely professional. No one knew. We did not sit together in meetings. We did not email about anything personal. We kept everything separate, and it worked. For a while. A month in, I started to feel the weight of it, the secrecy, the constant vigilance. I wanted to talk about her with my friends. I wanted to not have to pretend we were just colleagues when we ran into each other in the hallway. I wanted to hold her hand in public without worrying someone from work would see. 2 months in, Sophia brought it up. We were at her place, sitting on her couch after dinner, and she said, "We need to talk about what this is." I looked at her, nervous. "What do you mean?" "I mean, we have been seeing each other for 2 months. I do not want to keep this a secret forever. But I also do not want to make things weird at work. So we need to decide what we are doing." I thought about it. What are the options? "We could keep it secret indefinitely," Sophia said. "We could tell HR and deal with whatever policies they have. We could tell the team and just be open about it. Or we could decide this is not working and end it before it gets more complicated." "I do not want to end it," I said immediately. "Neither do I," Sophia said. "Then we tell people," I said. "We do it the right way. We talk to HR, we figure out the policies, we make sure there is no conflict of interest, and then we stop hiding." Sophia looked at me. "You are sure? This could make things complicated. People will have opinions." "Let them," I said. "I am tired of pretending I do not care about you." So we did it. We scheduled a meeting with HR. We explained the situation. We were told that as long as I did not report directly to Sophia, it was not a policy violation, but it would be better if I transitioned to reporting to a different manager to avoid any appearance of favoritism. I agreed. Sophia agreed. HR documented everything and told us to keep things professional at work. And then we told our team. It was awkward. People were surprised. A few people made jokes. One guy made a comment about workplace romance that Sophia shut down immediately with a look that could have melted steel. But mostly, people were fine with it. Supportive even. The best part was not having to hide anymore. I could talk about my girlfriend without being vague. Sophia could mention weekend plans without editing out my presence. We still kept things professional at work. No PDA, no inappropriate conversations. But the weight of secrecy was gone. 3 months after the notebook incident, Sophia and I were at her apartment, cooking dinner together. She was chopping vegetables, and I was attempting to make pasta from scratch, which was going poorly. She looked over at me, covered in flour, and laughed. "You are a disaster." "I know," I said, grinning. "But I am your disaster." She put down the knife and walked over to me, wrapping her arms around my waist from behind. "Yes, you are." I leaned back into her. "I am glad I wrote your name in that notebook." She kissed my shoulder. "I am glad you did too, even though it was the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you." "It really was," I said, "but it was worth it." Looking back now, I realized the notebook was not the problem. The problem was that I thought being vulnerable, being too much, being too romantic, was something to be ashamed of. I thought my feelings were an inconvenience. I thought I needed to hide them to be taken seriously. But Sophia saw that notebook, saw my messy, earnest, over-the-top feelings written out in ink, and she did not think it was pathetic. She thought it was real, and she wanted to know if I still felt it. I did. I do. 6 months after the notebook incident, Sophia and I were sitting in a team meeting. A new junior analyst had just started, and she was nervously taking notes in an actual paper notebook. Sophia caught my eye across the table and smiled, and I knew we were both thinking the same thing. After the meeting, the new analyst stopped me in the hallway. She looked embarrassed. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course," I said. "Do you still use a paper notebook?" she asked. "Or did you switch to digital?" "I still use paper," I said. "Why?" She looked relieved. "Everyone else uses laptops, and I feel weird being the only one with a notebook." I smiled. "There is nothing wrong with a notebook. Some of the best things in my life happened because of a notebook." She looked confused, but she nodded and thanked me and walked away. Sophia appeared next to me. "You did not tell her the whole story." I laughed. "She is brand new. I am not going to traumatize her with my embarrassing workplace crush story on her first week." "Fair," Sophia said. She paused. "Do you regret it? The notebook?" "Not even a little," I said. She took my hand just for a second, a quick squeeze in the empty hallway. "Good, because I do not either." That night, Sophia came over to my apartment. We ordered takeout and watched bad TV and talked about nothing important. At some point, she saw my notebook sitting on the coffee table and picked it up. "Can I look?" she asked. I hesitated, then nodded. She opened it, flipping through pages of work notes and doodles and random thoughts. Then she stopped on a page near the back. It was recent, from last week. And in the margin, in my handwriting, I had written Sophia Park. She looked at me, her eyes wide. "You took my last name this time." I shrugged, embarrassed. I was just trying it out, seeing how it looked. She set the notebook down and kissed me. "I love you," she said. It was the first time either of us had said it. I felt my heart do the same thing it had done on my first day at the office when she smiled at me. "I love you too. We are not married. Not yet, anyway. But we talk about it. We talk about a lot of things. A future that includes both of us. A life that is not hidden or compartmentalized or secret. I still write in my notebook. I still doodle in the margins during meetings. And sometimes, when I am not paying attention, I still write her name. Sometimes with my last name. Sometimes with hers. Sometimes with both, hyphenated, because I cannot decide." Sophia saw one of those pages last month. She did not say anything. She just smiled and kissed my forehead and went back to reading her book. I used to think being too romantic, too sincere, too much was a flaw. I thought I needed to tone it down, be cooler, be less obvious. But Sophia loves that about me. She loves that I write things down. She loves that I feel things deeply. She loves that I doodled her name in a notebook like a teenager with a crush, because it was real and honest and completely me. And I love that she saw it and did not run. I love that she waited in a parking garage to tell me she felt the same way. I love that she was willing to navigate all the complications, all the awkwardness, all the workplace policies, because she thought I was worth it. The notebook incident was the most embarrassing moment of my life. It was also the best thing that ever happened to me, because sometimes the most humiliating thing you can do is show someone exactly how you feel. And sometimes, if you are really lucky, they feel the same way. I wrote Mrs. Sophia Chen in my notebook during a meeting. My coworker saw it, and now she is my girlfriend. And someday, maybe, I will actually be Mrs. Chen. Or she will be Mrs. Park. Or we will be Park Chen, hyphenated, because we could not decide. Either way, I am keeping the notebook.